Welcome. This is Scoasoft, an intelligent school administration software. In this video, we'll be walking through custom settings. Custom settings help us to generate and to automate things in the new curriculum report cards for secondary schools. To go to custom settings, you come to the navigation menu and click Settings. After clicking Settings, you scroll down to the bottom. There is a button which says Go to Custom Settings. And reaching here at Custom Settings, we see the first region. The first place is this one, where we set up some automations, and we have another section here, another section there, another section here. So we have 1, 2, 3, and 4 sections. We'll go one by one, starting with the one on the top. So in this particular region here, we are setting the remark, the teacher's remark on a specific descriptor. We know that depending on how much the student has scored, they'll be given a different descriptor. From 0.5 to 1.4, they'll be given a basic descriptor. Between 1.5 to 2.4, they get a moderate. 2.5 to 3, outstanding. But then there's a place where we need to have a teacher's remark depending on the descriptor they have achieved, the students. So here we can say that for outstanding descriptor, this is the remark, and we enter it here. This is just an example. You can enter something that you want to be displayed on a report card, automated for a student, as a remark for a student who have scored an outstanding descriptor. Also the same thing for the moderate descriptor. You add a remark for someone who have scored a moderate descriptor. Same thing with the basic one. You add a remark for that one as well. This information is necessary to automate remarks on what is written on the student report card. We can see that by going to performance, just seeing a sample report card. We go to full report, and coming down here, we see on the report page, we see that the descriptor is moderate. In our settings where there's moderate, we had moderate remark. You see, it is automated. No one has written. If the student scores moderate, outstanding, the remark is automated. The remark is automated. So depending on what they have scored, even on basic, what they have scored, it automates the remark. What they have scored and the descriptor that they've been given, it automates the remark for the student. So that is that. Let's go back to custom settings. So that is that. Another subsection is class teachers per class per stream. So on the report card, there is somewhere where they say class teacher's name. So this helps us that we can automate that also. So classes are shown by number. 1 means senior 1, 2 means senior 2, senior 3, senior 4, senior 5, senior 6. So equals, here you write the teacher's name. Senior 1, the class teacher is, you write the teacher's name, you remove this, you put the teacher's name. So even here, senior 2, class teacher's name, senior 3, class teacher's name. So you just keep editing all this to save to the system and let the application know the class teachers. So per report card per class, this will be automated because the application will be already knowing the class teachers per class per stream. Now for classes which have streams, we have like senior 1 green, class teacher name. Senior 1 blue, the name of the class teacher. Senior 1 yellow, the name of the class teacher. So for those ones which have streams, they will show you more fields to enter the class teacher. And that is that about entering class teachers per class per stream. The next subsection is class teacher's remark. In the bracket, there is that it will be computed by average score grade for all subjects. So this is, we are calculating the total scored in all subjects. And then the average, we are using the average to get the grade that they are in. We have A plus, A sharp, A, B, C, all these ones, the grades. So if the average is this one, then the class teacher's remark is automated. You remove this and put, if someone gets an average of subjects which adds up to this grade A plus, what should we tell them? So you write here, you remove this, and you write the remark to give that person. Let's demonstrate this somehow. Also demonstrating together with this one, the class teachers per class per stream. So this is how it works. If this is set up just as it is set up right now, if we go to performance, as you see, these ones, remark 1, 2, 3, up to 8, and the class teachers. So coming here, we try out a sample report card, and we go to full report card. So when we come to the summary, we see that here we have class teacher's name, which we have already set up in custom settings, where we set up class teacher per class per stream, student's name, and also class teacher's remark here. This is the average, which is calculated out of all these scores, and then the average is graded somewhere between the grades. So depending on the grade, it will automate. It will automatically automate what the class teacher's remark would be. Same thing with a teacher's remark. And we can also automate closing date is set up in custom settings, and opening date. Let us see that. So we see here, these are class teachers per class per stream, class teachers remark, average, then grading. If it gets to this, that's the remark. If the average grade gets to that, that's the remark. The same thing with head teacher. If the average of all the scores totaled gets this grade, that's the remark. Just trying to automate the remarks of the head teacher and the class teacher. That's that. And we also saw the closing date on the report. It is automated here. The term ends and you need a different date to be displayed on the report card as a closing date. You just come and edit here, and the fields will be displayed on the report card. And that is that with the first section of custom settings. We'll move on to the next section. So this section speaks about compulsory and optional subjects. Why do we need to set up this? This is because if each teacher enters marks for the subject they've marked, and maybe the student doesn't attempt commerce or technical drawing, or they don't attempt agriculture, then those zeros will still reflect on the report card, which will impact the overall performance and automated remarks of the student. So it's good practice to indicate that this subject is optional, in that in case the system receives 0 scores or no scores, those 0 scores will not reflect on the report card, since the subject is marked as an optional subject. But if a subject like English or mathematics is not marked as an optional subject, then that subject, if there are zeros or if there is poor score on it, it will reflect on the report card. It's only for the optional subjects that if we receive values will be displayed on the report card, but if we don't receive values for them, it will be taken, the system will know that such and such a student does not attempt such and such a subject. So it will not impact the overall performance of the student. So here we have this list here of the subjects. They are here, and if it is optional, the status is true. Now, like this one is an optional subject. This is optional. I set this is like an example. I set this myself. So I can always change, maybe make this one, let's say this one compulsory. And when I change that or change anything else to compulsory, I need to click save to save my things. Always, we need to save this section. After filling in all this, the moment you find the save button, you save your changes. Even here, the same thing, and my changes are saved. Just like that. If I want to change any subject, maybe make it optional, let that one be optional, and let this one also be optional. So you see that when I save, it's not there. And when we come to test that and maybe come to this student, we see that in our custom settings, let's go back to custom settings. We see that in our custom settings, technical drawing is an optional subject. So coming to performance, let's try this student, and we come to the, you see, technical drawing. It is optional. So let's say we filled up all subjects and we've not filled this one, and we click save. When we come to the report card, the system will know that this subject has zeros because the student does not attempt it, and it's nowhere to be seen on the report card and does not impact the overall performance of the student. But if it was a compulsory subject, let's go back and make it a compulsory subject. Let's make it compulsory. Let us click save. When we come back to see the report card, we'll see that those zeros are displayed and it impacts the overall performance of the student. The zeros are displayed, and even though the report technical drawing, they are displayed because it is judged as a compulsory subject. And even the grading will be G, and the remarks also will be impacted. So it is very necessary for us to set up custom settings to judge which subject is compulsory and which subject is optional. That is that. I'll take it back to optional and save. So that is that with setting up compulsory and optional subjects. We'll go on to the next section. The next section is subjects competence details. Just as we've seen on the report cards, for example, this very example that we've been using, if you look on the report page, we know that on the summary, the competences or topics are just C1, C2, C3, C4. That's how it is. But on the report page, this one which gives more details, we are also having competence 1, competence 2, but yet we can provide more details to these ones per class. So how do we provide more details to these ones per class? We come into custom settings and we come here. We select what subject we want to provide details for. Let's try out with mathematics. So competence 1, mathematics has only one competence. In my example, there can be more. So I can say that the competence detail for competence 1 in a senior 1 is maybe a learner should be able to calculate ABC, or learner should be able to do this and that. So I need to write it here. Learner should be able to calculate something like that. So this would be, so this, since this likes senior 1, competence 1 detail for senior 1. So senior 1s will be able to see this on their report card. What about competence 1 for senior 2? Because now what they are learning is different. So for senior 2, we can say learner should be able to calculate, and we use just a 2 to indicate that this is for senior 2. And senior 3, still a different topic that they are dealing with. Competence 1 description will be learner should be, we can just use 3 for example. And we can also put here for senior 4, senior 5, and senior 6 as well. Remember, these ones will be predetermined how it will be done with senior 5 and senior 6, but the system right now is saving it this way, so we'll compute right now. So when we save, our changes are saved, and if we check in mathematics, we see that they are there. Coming back to the report card, we are going to see that where there is competence 1, it will not be there, but rather this detail will be there. So coming here, this is senior 4. So coming here and clicking view report card, full report. You see, mathematics, instead of competence 1, learner should be able to calculate 4, just as we set up. So some might prefer to leave it like this, competence 1, competence 2. But if you want to add details there to the report page, you can always do that and automate it in custom settings. Right here, you select the subject you want to automate, and then you select senior 1, competence 1 for English, you enter the details. Another competence, details. And that is that about setting up competence details. We'll proceed to the next section, which is very important and is the last one. In this one section, it is competence prompt. Set up a number of components to collect scores from well-entering students' performance data per class. So why do we need to set up this? The reason why we need to set up this is a subject like English or geography can have 3 competencies. And these competencies will affect all classes. But let us say senior 1 was able to complete 2 competencies. And geography has the maximum number of 3 competencies that can be completed term. But then senior 1 completes 2, maybe senior 2 is able to complete 3, and the other is able to complete this. So on the report card or in the performance, as we are prompted to enter marks, we can set up that geography for senior 1, you only ask 2 competencies. And senior 2, we can say ask this. So depending on each class, how many competencies they have completed and how many topics they have covered, then we prompt scores to be input in the report card. Let's see an example here. This has been in 3, and when we go back to the form, let's use another one here, and we go look for geography, we see that they are prompting us to enter marks for competence 1, competence 2, and competence 3. But what happens if we are in senior 2 and we have only completed 2 competencies? What do? This class that we have selected is senior 4. So we can go to custom settings and set up that for senior 4, only ask for 2 competencies because that's what has been able to be covered. So senior 4, we can say, instead of asking for 3, ask for 2. And we click save. After saving, when we come back and we click, we look for geography, we see that they are no more asking for 3 competencies, but they are asking rather for 2. So you need to set that per class depending on how many competencies have been completed. You need to come here and set, if they have all been completed, you can leave them as it is. If some have not been completed and you need to change a particular class that only prompt to enter marks for this number of topics or competencies, you can always change. Each subject runs for all classes. So you can change all of them here. Remember, every time you change, you click save. And every time you save, it will reflect just as it has reflected on here. Instead of asking competence 1, competence 2, and competence 3 as we've saved, it is only asking for 2 when we come and save again. Custom settings, geography, senior 4, this one, we click save, we come here, we see that they're asking for 2. And that is that. That's the importance of using custom settings. It gives you automations, options of how you want to do things. I hope it was easy for you. You can always watch this video again to get to know more of how to automate things and interact with custom settings. Thank you for watching. See you in the next video.